Hey guys, this is going to be a real quick video. So a couple weeks ago, I was in a discussion with some friends and we were talking about dry fire, and the topic of using a zip tie to block the slide came up. So there's a couple problems with that, and I think I found a better solution. So here's my carry gun, and the trigger breaks at about 4.5 pounds. Okay. So if you do the zip tie in the barrel trick, where you block the slide from going all the way forward, right? Actually, that ain't right. Get that in there. Okay. So slide slightly to the rear, and now you can pull the trigger and it'll reset. The problem is it feels like a cheap Walmart squirt gun, right? The weight's way too low. The weight when you reach the back of the trigger guard is just under 3 pounds. You don't feel the engagement with the plunger since it's not touching the plunger, since it slides to the rear. You can't really feel the wall, and it's just not quite the same. The other problem is if I have a trigger that needs 4.5 pounds of force, when I reach 3 pounds, I run out of feedback. So at this point, I don't know if I'm pulling 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 8 pounds. If I snatch the trigger, am I putting 15 pounds and really cranking on it? Right? I don't know. So a few weeks ago, after doing some thinking, I went on Amazon and I picked up one of those cheap aluminum slide cover plates. So they usually have like a Gaston flag or a Punisher skull or a Spartan helmet engraved on the back. This is just a plain one. And I drilled a hole down the center, tapped it for a screw, and then I played around with different screw lengths and just random washers until I found the right thickness to where the screw will block the rearward motion of the striker. And since it's a screw, I can screw it in and out, with an Allen key and kind of fine tune it. But now it'll block the trigger, or it'll block the striker, so my trigger is free to do what it normally does. So the weight up to the take up to the wall is identical. After the wall, right up to where it releases, that little bit of creep is all the same. The weight's the same. Obviously, I don't have the release and I don't have the full reset. But if you think about it, the beginning of the trigger is where you can screw everything up, because once the trigger snaps, the bullet's on its way out. And there's really not much you can do to influence it. So the cool part is when I pull the trigger up to about there, that's about 4.5 pounds, okay? And I didn't need to reset it, force a habit. But if I pull the trigger too hard, it'll still break at about 7 pounds. What happens is the striker actually pushes the entire slide back, which allows the trigger bar to drop down and it releases. So I know that when I pull the trigger, when my finger stops, I'm at least 4.5 pounds, but I'm still under 7. So I'm in a much narrower range, so I have a lot more feedback. So if I'm doing like transition drills on multiple targets, right, it makes it a lot easier for things like that. If I'm drawing out of the holster and trying to go for speed on a very small, precise target, I can make sure I'm smoothly on the trigger and I'm not snatching at it, right? So it just gives me a lot more feedback than just the zip tie trick. It only works on safe action guns like the Glock. The FN509 is a safe action gun, and the CZ P-10 is a safe action gun. So I did the same thing with its cover plate, and I can get the same thing. So yeah, you can pick up a drill and a tap set from Harbor Freight for like $8 and go to town. Hope this helps. See you guys later.